Hello, I'm Robert Doyle, General Manager of the East Bay Regional Park District. Over the past almost 8 decades, the East Bay Regional Park District has grown to be the largest regional park district in the nation. With over 112,000 acres of preserved parkland, 65 parks, and 1,000 miles of trail, we have accomplished a lot together. But there is still more to be done. We hope you enjoy the short film, and thank you for coming.
The East Bay Regional Park District is by far the largest and most diverse in the nation. 100,000 acres, 65 very different parks, and 40 miles of accessible shoreline. It's immense, and it's right beyond our back door.
A mile from my house in this big urban city, I can be out in the deep forest and be close to nature, and it's quiet. And I think this is just a treasure.
It's right there in your backyard. It's free, and they're here to be enjoyed.
I see this from my front and backyard of my home.
Not a bad view.
No, not at all. I really enjoy it every time I get up.
The topography is endless, and the opportunities for outdoor recreational use are just as endless. So for every mood you've got, we have a park.
The East Bay Regional Park District serves 2.4 million people throughout more than 40 cities and local communities in Alameda and Contra Costa counties. It seeks to balance environmental protection, the values of open space, and the recreational needs of a growing population. Almost every recreational opportunity imaginable is available on 1,100 miles of trails and on little trains and at little farms, all of it everywhere accessible for families and for people with their pets, and for those of us seeking to be alone with our thoughts and with nature.
It makes my day to go out there after, whether I'm working or not, just to get out of the house, get out of the job site, take a short hike, and sit, listen, look around, and just see these things that are preserved for us.
So gnarly. I love the way that.
And those trees, they know just who they are. Their job is to stand and tower and reach for the sun. And whenever you're feeling down, all you got to do is look up. As you're looking at the trees, you find your spirit looking up. And those dark days don't seem to be so dark.
The days were pretty dark when this treasured park district was born in the depths of the Great Depression. Visionary leaders such as University of California President Robert Sproul had an unprecedented idea to create the state's first regional park system. And they convinced voters in 7 cities in Alameda County to vote for a property tax to fund the parks in 1934.
And it's the Depression. You know, this isn't the top of the 1920s when people were making millions. This is the Depression. But they were tough, and they wanted to do it, and they showed nothing was going to stop them.
Nothing ever did stop the determined citizens of the East Bay from supporting and building on their inspirational commitment. The first 3 parks were opened in 1936, Tilden Park, Sibley Volcanic Regional Preserve, and Lake Temescal. WPA workers of that era built much of the park's early infrastructure that still stands today. Then, slowly, new parks and more open space was acquired. By its 20th anniversary, 5,400 acres were protected. By its 30th anniversary, Contra Costa County voted to join the district. And decade after decade, new parks were added, vastly increasing the size of the district and its importance to a rapidly growing population.
What would the East Bay be like if the park district had failed, if it hadn't passed? It would be, you know, all these beautiful lands and these opportunities would be all developed now. There's no question about it.
Throughout its long history, the Park District has grown more than 20-fold and has been guided by elected boards of directors, by visionary executives, and by a highly professional and multifaceted staff involved in everything from park maintenance and management, environmental planning and stewardship, to public safety, police, and fire. Environmental educators teach tens of thousands of school-aged children about the land, environmental preservation, and the cultural history of the parks, engaging the next generation of park users and supporters. Today, East Bay Regional Parks are central to the lives of millions of us, and time after time, voters have overwhelmingly shown their support by backing the regional parks through critical ballot measures, including the passage of $500 million Measure WW in 2008. In the heart of the Great Recession, it was the largest regional park bond ever ratified in the nation's history. These public funds have been and will be used largely for acquisition and development of new regional parks and open space, as well as to benefit cash-strapped cities in funding many local park and recreation projects for their residents. These parks mean many important things to many people, including those who volunteer to give back to the parks. Annually, park volunteers provide about 120,000 hours of labor in all kinds of essential ways. As a volunteer member of the Bike Patrol, business consultant Benjamin Yee of Fremont rides the trails 5 days a week in his neighborhood park, Mission Peak, to assist and sometimes inspire people, and to stay in shape.
For me personally, not only do I act like a docent, which I most of the time do, but at the same time it really motivates me to stay healthy, stay fit, and then hear other people who say that even I motivate them.
Bob Coomber from Livermore is known as Four-Wheel Bob, the nation's #1 wheelchair hiker, according to many reports. He loves the varied access East Bay parks provide him, from the paved Iron Horse Trail to less conventional conditions.
I like to challenge myself. I spend a lot of time finding new and amusing ways to get myself out into mountains and on trails that you'd rarely expect to find a wheelchair, but that's not the reason I do it. I would be out there if I were walking. I'm hiking in a wheelchair because I'm a hiker anyway.
Lifelong Oakland resident and radio personality Miranda Wilson enjoys spending quiet time on her own, reconnecting with nature and with herself.
When you're ever going through stress or a tough time in your life, you're walking through nature. We can leave the concrete jungle, and nature is right within our reach, like 5 minutes away. And just let the silence of nature remind you of who you are.
Berkeley resident Dr. Amanda Williams Calhoun works for Kaiser Permanente. Tilden Park is a special place for her and her young family, especially the little farm and all its animals. A special touchstone, she says, in an otherwise hectic life. As a physician, she also knows how important parks nearby can be to the health and well-being of her patients.
We've come up with strategies around cancer, around antibiotics, but really what makes the difference in people's lives and long-term well-being are taking care of themselves, eating right, getting outside, getting exercise, and managing their stress. And in the park, it's a great place to do almost all of those things.
The first thing that is remarkable to me about today is there are a lot of people here in the rain pulling weeds in the poison oak.
And television news anchor Wendy Takuda is totally devoted to caring for Redwood Regional Park in her own backyard. Every month, she and people of all ages and walks of life, rain or shine, volunteer hours of their time to get down and dirty and rid the park of harmful weeds and invasive plants.
It's a very deep gratification, a very deep feeling of, wow, this is so cool. This is so cool. It's wonderful. It makes me feel like people want to do something good and they want to give back to the parks, and it makes the parks a better place.
People have been making the East Bay Regional Park District a better and bigger place in all kinds of ways for 3/4 of a century. Born of inspiration in a difficult time, the parks have enriched our lives ever since. And with our continued care and commitment, they promise to do the same for generations to come.
If we could preserve nature close to home and, 25 years, 75 years from now, these people are getting a very similar experience as their grandparents did, then we've probably done a very good job.